Hi, dear students, and namaste to all the viewers of this boot camp. Today, we are at day 3 of the boot camp in English. However, we are on day 5 of the 6-day boot camp. So, are you guys ready for what we have to learn today? I will also just run through a quick recap soon. So, buckle up and let's get ready for the exciting session coming through. Yeah, like so I said, let's begin with the day 3 English boot camp. Okay, so we are prepping you for the Blender based creative design thinking competition, and we call it the Blender Nation Thon. It's a national level competition, and I hope all you guys are going to participate for it. Okay, so I expect maximum participation for this competition. It's going to be a national level, and Ma'am Vishaka is going to brief you about it towards the end of today's session. Right? Okay, so without wasting much time, let's go forward. So, can you please tell me what did you learn during the last 2 days of the boot camp? What did you all learn? For that matter, let me come to this question, okay? How many of you who are watching this boot camp today watch the previous days of this boot camp? We had day 1 in English, we had day 2 in English, alright? We had the other days in Konkani. How many of y'all watched the boot camp? Whatever language it may be in, but how many of you watched? Please type in the chat box. I'll be waiting for your answers. I'm just hanging on there. Yes, I'm seeing so many chats coming in. Great. That's nice. Great. Cool. Now that you all have watched the boot camp, those of y'all who said yes, right? Okay. Can you also type what you guys learned in the last few days of the boot camp? We've kept the boot camp accessible in 2 languages. One is English and one is Konkani. So, in whichever language you found your comfort in, alright, can you just type in what all you all have learned in the last few days of the boot camp? I'm hanging on there for the answers to come in. Come on guys, please type in. Let us know what you guys have learned. Today we are at day 3. We are on the last day of the English boot camp. Can you type in what you've learned in the last few days? Okay, I'll hang in there. Some answers coming in. Great. This is so nice to know. On day 1, we had introduced Blender to y'all, and on day 2 of the English boot camp, many of y'all had fired a query in the chat, not sure of how you go about downloading Blender and stuff like that, right? So, I'm sure it was cleared in day 2 of the English boot camp, and most of y'all have gone ahead and managed to download Blender, right? So, I believe that after watching this boot camp, right, y'all have, okay, there's a slight lag coming in there. So I believe that you guys have downloaded Blender and tried something fun. Okay, so let me just have your answers come in as to what you guys learned. Alright, what you guys learned. There was slight lag, so I guess I missed you guys out there. Okay. Also, I would want to know if you guys tried out anything fun. We had a lot of creativities come in. One student learned the animation skills that we had taught, and he created beautiful trees with snowfall coming in. Wow, what amazing animation created by just that Blender bootcamp of day 2. It was so cool. We will be sharing all the creativities with you soon, just so that it gets you motivated and you also keep sharing with us all the fun things that you guys are creating and will be creating, right? Okay. So if I hang in for another minute or so, if anyone wants to share with us what fun thing they have tried, we are all ears. Can you type? Yeah, someone is typing in something. We will be sharing with you the creativity soon, and you can check out what cool things your friends have done. Mind you, they are all students of standard 6, 7th, 8th and 9th. They are all prepping for the competition. So coming back to day 1, we had learned objects in Blender. How many different objects did you guys try out? How many different objects did you guys learn in the Blender bootcamp? Of course, ma'am had taught you cylinder, ma'am taught you cone, ma'am taught you cube, right? So also taught you how to make the barn, okay? Now Ganesh Chaturthi is coming and many of you all would want to have E-Ganesha done, right? E-Ganesha celebrations done. Why not design an E-Ganesha and have your Matoli done in Blender, right? Your Matoli designed in Blender. Why don't you have your fireworks in the E style without having any noise pollution, any smoke pollution? Why don't you create an animation in Blender with your fireworks going up, shining, glittering in the sky, right? So let's just have a recap of how many different objects that we can use in Blender, right? Let's just see. Let me just open up Blender interface for you and we'll just run through it quickly, right? And then later on you'll have the further part of your session. Hang in there. So if you guys launch your Blender interface, this is what it's going to look like. All right, ma'am has already, right, explained to you what all are these panels over here, right? Okay, so if you press 1 on the keyboard, all right, you'll get the front orthographic view. Your view changes. If you press 2 on the view keyboard on your numpad, this is what your view will look like. Similarly, type 3, type 4, type 5, type 6, type 7, right? The green axis is the y-axis, the red axis is the x-axis over here, right? Okay, type 8, type 9, and I go back to 0, right? And let me come back to 1. So this was not what it was prior. It was something like this, right? Okay, so this is what my Blender interface looks like. And whenever I launch my Blender interface, I always have this default cube. So this is referred to as my default cube. However, now if I press Shift A, all right, I can add different objects. Let me go to Mesh and see the different objects that I can add. I can add a plane, okay, it's hidden in the cube, so I select G and I push it elsewhere. I can scale it and make it look big or small. So this is a plane. I press a G. I can add a color to this, so I go here, all right. I can add a color to this. You could do that later, all right. Let me just show you the different this is just a plain circle. It's hidden there, so I'll press a G and I'll bring it out. This is a circle, all right. Yes, all right. Now let me try something else. Let me try Shift A. Let me try, like, for example, ecosphere. So let me try a G and here it is, all right. Okay, now let me try something, a mesh again. So let me you already seen how to put a cylinder, how to put a cone, all right. By default you get a monkey, all right. There's a kid who sent in his creativity with regards to this monkey, all right. It's really cool that he has figured it out, all right, and demonstrated it to us. It's really nice. We appreciate that, and we encourage more such kind of discovery. So there's something called as a torus. All right, you can just, so tell me where you might use it. Okay, see, if you look at it, it'll look like this. Okay, so there are such cool objects that you can use. Let me just try a text. Okay, there's a text which is there over here, so you can change the text name. All right, you can change it to anything you want. All right, you can try that out. Let me just say boot camp day 3, right? So you can do such cool stuff here. You can then rotate it. You have to go back to object mode. Okay, you can then rotate it. You can click on R. You can then rotate it however you want. You can type S and scale it. All right, that should be day 3. Excuse me for my mistake, right? I've scaled it. Okay, I just let it be there. I'll just type a G and I'll just let it be there. If I want to edit it, I'll click on it. I'll go back to edit mode. I'll remove that R. So here you are. Cool? Looks good, right? Yes. So these are the different objects you could place. There are some of the different objects. I wouldn't say all the different objects. Okay, I'll again go here, and there are a lot of more things that you could do. For example, there's a surface. Okay, this surface creates curves. Let me just, it's here, so I'm just going to like grab it and move it. All right, then I'll just go to edit mode. All right, and just extrude it. Not sure whether you guys have done extrude, never mind. So escape, let's scale it. Okay, if you scale it, this is what it looks like. Let me go back to object mode. So there are like a lot of things you can do, right? So what we encourage from you is, or what we encourage you all to do is, try all these things. There are a lot of things. Try all these things and see what happens. Try your hands on it. See what you can do. See what it turns out to be. All such kind of things, right? There's a lot of help available online. You can grab any tool, any YouTube video, any tutorial, and try out all of that. This bootcamp is just a head start for you to kind of set your gears right, like in first gear, second gear, and make your head start towards learning this, right? Okay, so now that we have done all this, let us just try to add color, right? Just a recap. So I'll click on this object, whichever I want, just to be sure of whichever object is selected or highlighted. You can check here in your scene selection, the plane supposed to be highlighted, right? Then you click on this material properties, click on it. All right, and click here. Maybe you can say new, right? You can click here and click here. Okay, and you see here base color. You can click on this base color and you can say yellow. However, you will see that this has not taken color. Just click on this and you will see that this has taken color. This was already set to green initially by me, so it's taken color. So if you want to set a color of this, you come here. It's the ecosphere. All right, come here. All right, say new. Okay, and the base color is again here. You can select a pink. All right, so you can select on this and you can say new, and you can click on base color, and maybe you can choose blue, right? This is how it looks. All right, so like this you can play around with all the possible objects you have. Try to add color to it. Okay, now if you select this box, you see the whole thing has got selected to green. What if you wanted to select only a portion of it, right? Only one face of it. Let's go to this edit mode and you'll see this is vertex select. Then this is edge select and this is face select. Let's select a face of it, right? And try to change the color. The whole thing is getting colored, right? So how are you going to take care of this? Just to check out this, there is our YouTube video on our Cares Goa portal which explains of a rocket and how to color different portions of the rocket. I would now request you that at the end of this boot camp, you go back to the YouTube channel, okay, figure this out and do something fun by adding different colors to different surfaces and get back, right? This is going to be your upcoming challenge. So I hope all of you guys are ready for the upcoming challenge which I just posted a while ago. The challenge was that you have a cube. The whole cube is colored pink. However, you have a challenge wherein you have to paint different surfaces of the cube, different colors. For help on that, there is a video on our YouTube channel. You please tune into that video and check it out. Cool? And you can create some nice cool YouTube videos, alright, and post us the link on that particular video that we had created, so we can look it up and then give you your reviews, right? So cool. Yes. So now I'm going to run you through the interesting and the adorable and fascinating creativities that have come in through all your friends. Let's stay tuned for that. Let's stay tuned for the creativities. Set, go. What do you feel about all these creativities that you have seen today? Aren't they just outstanding? They are all coming from your friends, right? So I would also motivate you and encourage you to come in with such cool creativities wherein we can showcase them on our social media handles. If you still haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are very much active on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So if you send us your cool creativities, we are going to upload your creativities on our social media handles and tag you there. So do it. What you guys waiting for? Right? Okay, so as promised, today we will see the rest part of today's session wherein Sir is going to explain to us about the camera, the focus, and how to render all that you're doing on your Blender interface. Without wasting much time, let's connect with Sir today. Thank you and see you soon.
So, hello students, how are you? I hope you are doing really well in your bootcamp courses. Today is the third session of the bootcamp course in which you guys gonna learn many more things which we can do in Blender, many advanced things using lights, cameras, shadows, colors, etc. So let's get started. So today we'll go into a much advanced and deeper part of it, in which we will try to see some other things in which the shapes will be same, but around the shapes how the other objects we can use and affect the appearance of that shape. So as you can see here, I have many shapes lying around me, like this is a vase, a bucket, and I think I don't have to tell what is this. This is a cute little robot which I have, and if you can see, the difference between these two things are they look exactly similar, but the colors are different. If you see this object in this direction, it doesn't looks like a vase. Even if you see this object in the other direction, does it looks like a vase? No, it looks like a sphere, right? Which is circled by some other textures around it. Now the other one. Yeah. Now see this shape. If you see it in any direction, it looks the same. Because what's the difference between this shape and this shape is this is a symmetrical shape. From any direction you observe it, it looks same. But as you see some complex shape, it looks different in different directions. More complicated shapes like this robot, it looks completely different in different directions. Even if you change a little bit like this, it looks different. It looks different. If you see from top, it looks you won't even know that it is a robot if you show it in this direction, isn't it? It looks something else, like a red color spear and something is coming from top. Or else if I just show you the legs of this, it looks completely different. So why this is important is, whenever we try to create some shapes, 3D objects in Blender or any computer program, it is required that from where should I observe that object? From where should I see? From where should my viewer see? Whenever we see any movie animations, any pictures, we see that any object is moving, a train is coming or a flight is moving. We see it in a different direction, right? For an observer from the ground, the flight will look like it is flying from the top. But a person who is sitting inside the flight doesn't look like that. It looks completely different. So it is our decision how we want that objects to see. The same thing we'll try today in Blender. And type Blender, press enter. So one Blender screen will be visible. As you can see on the screen, there is this workspace area here, okay, where you can see some shapes. There is the one pane, selection pane, in which camera, cubes and light is there, and one properties pane in which we can just apply some effects, move the objects from left to right, as you have learned in the previous videos. So in these videos, we'll focus about the camera and the lighting part. As you can see, like how I have a shape over here, this symmetrical shape you can see on my Blender software. And as you can see in my workspace, I'm looking this cube in one direction. But what if I want to change my direction and if I want to look this cube from the top? So just go onto this viewpoint scale and press on the Z. You will see this cube in this direction, as you can see in the screen. But now if I want to save this object in this direction, what I'll do is I'll go to the render and do the render image. But as you can see in my render image software, I can't see this object in this direction. It is visible only in this direction, as you're watching, right? It is visible only in this direction, but I was looking this object in this direction. Why is it? Because the camera which is there is looking in this direction and I am looking it in this direction. That's why the rendering happens like this. So for me to save that object in this direction, I have to move this camera right on top. So how to do it? I'll close this software. Here near the below the viewpoint scale, there is one zoom in zoom out button, move the view, and the camera, toggle the camera view button. Click on that. As you clicked here, you can see that you are now watching this entire scene through the camera, like how I'm watching it like this. I open the camera and I'm watching it like this. So what I have to do now just is I have to move this camera to the top direction so that I can view that object from the top. So how to do it? First go into the selection pane over here and select the camera. As you selected the camera, you can see that the location below the transform x, y, z has some values in it. So we'll try to change those values. What I'll do is I'll first put the value of x as 0. Enter. What has happened? My camera has been moved, right? Like if my camera is like this is the 0th location. My camera has been moved like this. Okay. So what my main objective is to make my camera like this. So then what I have to do, my camera is looking in this direction. I have to move in this direction, y direction also. I have to make it 0. So how will I make it? I have some value here minus 6.925 in y direction. I'll click over here and press 0. Now as you can see, my object is here, okay, and my camera is looking like this. What I have to do now just is to tilt the camera so that it looks directly to my object. So how will I do it? There are some rotation values here, 63.6 in x, y is 0, z is 46. Let's try changing it. This x, what I'll do is I'll put 0 and see what has happened. Just as I put x as 0, my camera has tilted like this and you can see the object like this. So now what happens is whenever we want to take any video from, for example, whenever I want to take a video of this robot, I want to take it full scale. So what I can do, two things I can do. I can actually move this robot behind so that my entire robot is visible in the camera frame, or else what I can do is I can take my camera behind. So in this case what I'll do is I'll take my camera a little bit behind. So what is behind in this case? This is the shape, this is the camera. So to take it behind, as in I have to take it on top so that the entire thing is visible. So how can I do it? There is some z value here. Z is this value. When you increase the z, this value will increase. So I'll click over here and I press 7. See, it is coming top. More I'll do. I'll try to put 9 over here. As you can see, I can see that in a top view. So now if I go into my render button, and click a render image. As you can see now, my image is exactly rendered how I want it. I can see this image in this direction. Previously it was not happening like that, but now it is happening. Why? Just because I have moved the camera the way I want my object to be seen. So now if I want to save this image, go to image and click on save button. As you see, when I click on the save button, there is one window pops up, Blender file view. So what I can do here is I'll just remove this untitled and I'll put top.png. Don't this settings of the image keep as it is not required to be changed now, and click save as image. The image will be saved. So that's it for the camera angles part. So as you have seen now how different angles of the cameras makes us to look the objects in completely different way. But when we talk about a camera, right, there is one more thing which comes into our mind, because without which even if we have a camera, we won't capture any image. And what is that actually is the light which we see around us. If there is no lighting, for example, in this room, if there was no light at all, you won't be able to see me, just because the camera won't be able to capture how I look. It can only capture me just because of this light. So we'll see something about light, how we can use the concepts of light into the Blender. So I have one light with me here. You might use these lights when the electricity goes. It's a torch, you can see. So what I'll do is I'll try to show you some concepts of lighting with this. I have some objects over here. So let's take this object. As you can see, this object, okay, if you see it in this way, the light is falling equally and it is illuminated equally in all the directions. If I turn the light on, as you can see from this direction, only this part of the object is illuminated and this part is little bit darker. Okay, if I move this light, the area at which the light is falling is illuminated, but the other side is darker. Can we try this in Blender? Let's see. So go to the file, new, general. This time we'll take some different shape. I'll delete this shape. To delete, Shift X, delete, and to add a new shape, what we can do is press and hold Shift and click on A. Now one tab will open, and inside the mesh tab you can see there are many shapes: cube, circle, UV sphere, icosphere. Okay, I'll take one object called as cylinder. You guys might have used cylinders in your mathematics geometry class, right? So we'll see some lighting effect on cylinders today rather than using formulas and finding the volumes of it. So now I'll just go into the camera view. As you can see, in the camera view, the cylinder is looking exactly how it should look in this direction. Now inside this selection pane, there is camera, cylinder, and one third component which is there is light. I'll click on this light, and as I click on this light, one second last option here which shows like a bulb icon will appear, and if I go there, it will show me object data properties, and when I click over here, the color of the light will be seen. First what I'll do is I'll move this light in different direction and see how the rendering changes. Now first I'll go to render, click on render image. As you can see, the objects appear like my light is on, the object appears like this. just because light is in this direction. So if I move this light in this direction, only the top part will be illuminated. Let's try doing in the Blender. So what I'll do is, I'll close this, I'll select the light, go to the object properties and move the light exactly, which is here exactly on the top of my object. Consider this as a cylinder, okay, for a time being, because I don't have cylinders with me. So to do that, inside the location, I'll put my x as 0 because I want to bring it in center. Y is also 0. And I'll move it now. Z is this. I'll move it a little bit down. So what I can do here, I'll make this Z as, I'll reduce it to 4. Now we'll see, and we'll go to render and see how this image looks like. You see how this image is looking now? It is completely different, right? The way it was looking before, like only the top part of this cylinder is illuminated. We'll try something more. Now in this, only white light is there. What if I change the color of this light? Because we can see different lights, right? In the festival times, in the some functions are there. There are different lights which are emanated in the clubs, discos. There are different lights which give some different effects. So can we do it in Blender? So how to do it? We'll go to the object data properties. The color of the light is white. Why? Because this bar is showing me the white color. I'll click on this color bar. Then here there is RGB, which is showing 111. So R is red, G is green, and B is blue. When equal amount of RGB is added, the white light is created. I'll change the color of this light into the yellow. So how will I do it? As you can see, because this R, G and B is 1, 1 and 1 here, my cursor is in center. I want this cursor to come over here. Okay. So to come over here, I don't want anything blue inside this. So blue part I will make 0. See, it has become yellow, right? It has come over here and it has become yellow. Let's try to render the image and see. Isn't my top part of the cylinder has turned yellow? Just because yellow light is falling on it. I have not changed the color of my cylinder yet. Only the light color has been changed. We'll try some more. What we will do is, this time we'll change the color of the cylinder, keeping the color of the light as yellow only. To do that, I'll select my cylinder over here, go to object data properties, go to material properties, click on new, deselect the use nodes option, base color I will select, and instead of blue I'll make color to cyan. So to make it cyan here, I have to remove all the red components from it. So I'll put my red as 0. See, my cursor has come to top, and this 0.800 and 0.800 will make it as 1 and 1 to give it a more sharpness. Then you can see here the object color is cyan and the color of the light is yellow. So what do you think, what will be the color of the top illuminated part? Just guess. I'll click on render image. Is it cyan or is it yellow? No, right? It's green, isn't it? Why is it? Just because when a yellow color light is falling on a cyan color object, the two light mixes and color creates a third color, which is the combination of cyan and yellow. Okay, so we can absolutely do this in the real life, because we have only three primary colors in the real life, which is red, green and blue, and using these three colors we create many different colors. Can we do it in Blender? Yes, as you can see, we tried it in Blender and we did it. So using these techniques you can do many things in Blender. You can cre- give some light effects in different direction without changing the color of the object. For example, you want to keep the light color as same, but you want to change the color of this object different and this object different. So how will you do it? You can do it by using this technique. Students, let us consider a situation in which teacher has given us an assignment with a topic, dishes made during festival. So I'll go into my editor and write down the topic, dishes made during festival. So to complete my assignment I require two things. First, I need some information about the assignment, and second, I need the some pictures. So to get these two, first I need to decide which festival I should focus on, and on which dish I have to write down. So there are many festivals which we celebrate here. Like if I consider Christmas, the dishes made during Christmas are bibinka and dodel. During Eid, we prepare sheer kurma. Not to forget about the Diwali, in which we eat many sweets like gulab jamun, jalebis, and also not to forget chaklis. This month, one more festival is approaching, and that is Ganesh Chaturthi. And during Ganesh Chaturthi, we prepare one auspicious dish called as modak. So, as Ganesh Chaturthi is appearing this month, we'll try to select Chaturthi as a theme, and the dish which we'll prefer will be modak. So the information about the modak I can get from my parents or my friends or in the library, or the last option is the internet. But what about the image? There are two options. Either I can get it from the internet, or the second option will be I'll prepare the dish and then I'll click the picture and then I'll put it in my assignment. But these days we are learning one 3D editing software, right, which is called as Blender. Until now we have made many different things using Blender. We have learned about the scaling, then we have learned about the camera, lights, animation, and all that stuff. Can't we use Blender software and try to get the image that I want as per my imagination? See, on the internet, I can get images based upon how other people took it, how other people clicked the pictures at their times, but I can't find an image in which how I'm imagining that dish to be, like how it should be kept in a plate or how it has been decorated. I can't find out. It will be very difficult. The only way I can do is prepare the dish with the help of my mother or my sister, and then place it in a plate and then click the picture of it. But now, as I know the 3D editing tool, I try to use that 3D editing tool and complete my assignment. So let's minimize this. We'll come back and I'll go into my Blender software. So my Blender software is being opened. Let's select general option because I do some 3D stuff in it. So this is my general Blender interface. I don't require this cube, so I'll delete it first. To delete, hold shift and press X. As you can see, the delete option is available. Press delete. Now we'll try to find Modak shape in our Blender software. To find the shapes to go into the shapes library, hold shift and press A. Now as you can see inside the mesh, I have various shapes available here. But I can't find any shape of a modak, isn't it? Is there a shape of a modak? No. So what I have to do is I have to create the shape of the modak. So how can we create it? Let's first imagine how the shape of a modak is. If we divide the shape of a modak from exactly center, the top part is a conical part, isn't it? And the down part is the hemisphere. So I don't have a hemisphere here, but I have a sphere. So I'll select the UV sphere. See, I got a sphere here, a perfect round sphere. So I require one more shape, and that is the cone. So I'll first move this sphere aside. I'll move it in the Y direction. You can move it in any direction you want. I'm just moving it because I want cone to be appear in the center. So in place of Y, I'll put 5. So it has moved 5 units in the Y direction. So let's add cone also. Shift A, mash, and cone. So cone has been appeared. Now what I have to do is I have to take this cone and I have to put it on the top of the sphere, isn't it? So that some similar shape I can get. So first I'll weave this and entire thing from the X direction. Now how much I have to move the cone on top? For example, from this center which is there, I have to take this center over here so that my cone fits exactly over here. So what I'll do is, as you can see, this is the Z direction, as I can see from my viewpoint scale. So in Z, I'll put 2. See, the center has been moved 2 units top. Now let's select my sphere and I'll bring my sphere again to the center. Y is 5, so I'll make my Y as 0. See, my sphere exactly came into the center and my cone is on the top of the sphere. So now again we'll see this in the X direction, or in a 2D view we'll see, so that I know exactly how to adjust this to make it in a shape of a modak, which is our final objective. So first what we will do is we'll bring this cone little bit down, okay, so that it fits over here, because what we want is because we know that the shape of a modak is a hemisphere from the bottom and from the top it is conical. So I'll select the cone first and the Z is 2, I'll make it 1. Now the cone came and merged into a sphere. See? But it is still much more far from the shape of the modak. So what I'll do now is I'll scale my cone a little bit. Scale as in I'll change its shape. So in the transform option there is location is there, rotation is there, and scaling is there. So how will I scale it? I'll scale it from the Z direction so that the height of the cone is little bit reduced. Z is 1, so I'll make it 0.7. So now the height of the cone has been decreased a little. Okay. So similarly, I'll change my shape of the sphere too. What I'll do first is I'll select the sphere. Then under the scale, what I'll do is I'll increase the width and the breadth of the sphere a little bit. 1.1. See, when I do 1.1, it has only increased in the x direction. Similarly, I'll increase it in the y direction to 1.1, and now I'll reduce its height a little bit, 0.7. It appears to be, isn't it? Yeah. So now it does looks like a modak. So now we have used the two shapes, cone and sphere, and we have made the modak. Now what we will do is we will join these two shapes. I will select the cone, hold Control key and select the sphere. Then when both the shapes are selected, hold the Control button and press J. See, both the shapes have been joined and you can see only one option, which is sphere. And when I select the sphere, entire thing has, and my entire object is been selected. Now I will rename this sphere to modak. So now I got the shape of a modak. Whenever we do some dishes, without even smelling them, there is one more thing which attracts us to those dishes, and that is the color of those dishes, isn't it? Color plays a very important role in any dish which we prepare. So let's try to give color to our dish. So to give the color, I'll go into the material properties, select new, deselect my use node option because we are not using it. I'll deselect it, go into the base color, click on RGB. Now as you can see, the R, G and B values are 0.8, 0.8, 0.8. These are very high and these are equal. That's why the color of my object is white. So I'll adjust the color such that the color of my modak becomes the way I want it to look. So if I imagine how the color of my modak is, it is a brownish a little, isn't it? So what I'll do is this color picker should come somewhere over here. Okay, so to come somewhere over here, I think there is no blue component here, isn't it? So as you can see, there is nothing blue component here. So what I'll do is I'll put my blue value at 0. See, as soon as I put my blue value 0, my cursor came over here. So I want it little bit here. Okay, so I'll make this red as 1, and I'll make this green value little bit less. Let's put it as 0.400. Okay, still a little bit orange. Let's make it 350. Closer, isn't it? It looks like a modak now. Now there is only one modak, right? And one modak won't be sufficient enough to satisfy their hunger. So let's increase the quantity and we'll make it 5. So to do that, first select the modak, hold Control key and press C, and again hold Control key and press V. As you can see, modak and another modak has been appeared. Now we'll select that modak, okay, and we'll move it a little bit sideways. So how to do it. I'll go into my object data properties. My second modak is selected. It is not appearing because both the modaks are merging on one another. So I'll make my x value as 3 over here. See, it has moved aside. Similarly again, because I have copied it once, so again I'll press Ctrl V to paste. So now the third modak has also been appeared, but as you can see, it is not visible because it is merged with my this modak. So to make it visible, I'll move this modak this time in this direction, which is -x. So first I'll select this modak, third modak, go into my x, and I'll press -3. So I'll add 2 more modaks which will come in this direction and this direction. So to do that, I'll again press Ctrl V, select the fourth modak, and select the fourth modak, and here in my Y I'll put 3 first. Again I'll press Ctrl V, select my fifth modak, and in Y I'll put -3. Okay, so my 5 modaks has been appeared. I will rename it. This is my modak 2, my modak 3, so that I can understand it better. See, so now I got my all 5 modaks. So these are my 5 modaks, but I want them to decorate a little bit so that they are placed properly inside one box. So we'll make one box for it, and to make the box I need some shape. So I'll press Shift A to add a shape. I got one thing here called as plane. I'll select that. As you can see, my plane has been appeared. Let's wave it in this direction and we'll zoom it. Now my plane is at 0th location. I want this plane to be here. So this entire box is the 1 unit, and this is been divided into 10 parts. So this box, this smaller box which you can see, is 0.1. I want this plane to come over here. So how much unit is this? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it should come here, right? So in which direction it should come? This is Z. So this is -Z. So in Z I have to put minus 0.7. Press enter. See, my plane has came exactly bottom of my middle modak, right? Let's view it from the top. Zoom out. So let's increase the size of my bottom base. So to increase in the x direction and then the y direction, so how much it is? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 4.5 in y direction. So I'll select my plane and I'll increase it in my scale. I'll increase it 4.5. See, it has been increased, right? And in the similar way, I'll increase it in my x direction too. 4.5. See, now my plane is exactly holding all my 5 modaks. So the box also has one border, right? A compound kind of a thing. We'll make those two. To add a shape, I'll make shape. First we'll rename it this as base so that there is no confusion. Now I'll hold shift and press A, mesh plane. Another plane has been appeared. First I'll change the location of this. I'll go to the X and press, and I'll put minus 4.5. So it is being appeared here. Then I'll rotate it a little bit in my y direction, 90. Press enter. See. Now what I have to do is, if I watch it in z direction, this plane should come a little bit on top. So because my base is here, right, as you can see, my base is here and my plane is here. So I want this to come on top. So this is at 1, so I'll minus it with 1, 2, 3, 0.3. So I'll select my plane, I'll go into the object properties. This is, so now this is 0, right? In which direction it is 0? If I select the plane, it is in z direction, it is 0. So I'll put here 0.3, so this thing gets shifted up. See, now it has got shifted up. Now if I zoom out and if I see my plane, it is exactly touching to my bottom base. Now what I have to do, I have to select my this and I have to increase it, right? In which direction I have to increase? If I watch from Z, I have to increase it in my minus y and y direction. So there is no minus y and y here, there is only y. So when I put any value here, it increases in both the direction. So how much I have to increase it? Tell me. 4.5, right? So I'll press 4.5. Why? Because my base is length is 4.5. So I got one boundary to my box. Similarly, what I have to do is I have to make other 3. So first what I'll do, I'll select my this base, Control C to copy it, one selected object, as you can see the message over here. Then I'll press Control V, object 1 pasted, as you can see. So now what I have to do, I have one base, right? So I'll move this exactly at this place. The X location of this is minus 4.5. So what I have to do, I have to just make it plus 4.5, right? See, now this is minus 4.5. Why? Because it is from 0, it is in the minus direction. See, this is minus x. So this plate should, this boundary should exactly come in plus 4.5 direction. But first what I'll do is I'll put 0 here and show you. See, now it has exactly come into the center. So what I have to do, I have to put here 4.5. See, my both base boundaries are been exactly to their places. Now similarly I have to put the boundaries over here. So again I'll paste it, Control B. Now what I have to do, first I'll select that plane, the newly appeared plane. I'll go to my X location, put a 0 over here. See, it has come to the center. Now what I have to do is I have to spin it in 90 degrees. So to do it, I'll go into my rotation option and in the X value, I'll put 90. See, now what I have to do, I have to move this into the Y direction and the value will be 4.5, right? Why? Because my base is 4.5 in all the directions. So I'll press 4.5 here. See? Now only the last boundary is remaining. Again, I'll press Ctrl V. One object pasted. I'll select that object here. That is my last object. I'll first bring it to the center, 0. Then I'll rotate it in 90. Yes. And this time, instead of plus y is equal to plus 4.5, I have to move it in this direction, minus y direction. So I'll bring it here by going into my y and minus 4.5. Press enter. See, my box is complete, right? Isn't it looking cool? So I have 4 panes and 1 base. So now what we will do is we'll join all them. So hold control button, select base, scroll down, holding control button, select pane 0.01, 0.002, 0.003, and then we'll join it. Hold control key now and press J. See, my box has been joined as I can. So as I select any one part, everything is been selected. So I'll rename it as box. So my box is done. So let's give some color to this box. Lord Ganesha's favorite color is red. So we'll color this box in red color. So to do that, first I'll select the box, go into the material properties, click on new, deselect use node option, click on base color, select the RGB. I want it to be in a red color, so I'll make this 0.8 as fully 1 and other parts at 0 because I don't want any green components and blue components in it. See, my box has been turned into the red color. Okay, now let's take a picture of this. So to take the picture, I have to go into the render option, render image. Wow, this looks like my camera has been zoomed it. I'll just select this binoculars and zoom out. My camera is not adjusted properly, so I'll adjust my camera. I'll close this. See, this is my camera. If I select my camera here, I can see my camera. It is looking at my dish in this direction. So I'll adjust my camera. First I'll select the camera, go into the object properties. I'll view my camera from the top so that I can get a proper view. I'll bring my camera somewhere over here. So I'll change my X, Y and Z. This is 7.3. I'll make it 13. Yeah, it has moved on this side. Similarly, I'll bring it a little bit behind from Y direction too. This time it should be minus 13 because this is the minus direction, this is the plus direction. 13 minus 13. Now let's see. To see how my camera is waving, I have to click over here, camera view. Now as you can see, my camera is facing down a little bit, so I'll bring my camera on top in the Z direction. So inside the location Z, I'll press 10. Now it has come on top. So now just let's adjust it a little bit so that my entire box is in the picture. So this is a little bit more. I'll reduce it. Yes, I think 59.5 will be much better. Yes. Okay, my box is not cutting from the camera. And Z direction, I'll make a little adjustment so that it is in the center. Yes, it is in the center, I believe. Now let's again try to click a picture from my camera. To click it, I'll go into the render. To click it, I'll go into the render image. I'll zoom it out a little bit so that, yeah, the picture is coming properly. See, as I told you in my previous tutorial, that the light is falling on the modak. As you can see, the shadow is appearing in this direction. Why? Because if I close and if I select light over here, see, this is my light which is falling on my modaks, and the shadow of the modak is in this direction. If you want, you can adjust the position of the light so that you can give you can change the direction of the shadow. So again, let's go back, render image. Now I got the image for my assignment, isn't it? But I don't want this gray color background, so let's remove it and make it transparent. I'll close. To remove it, go into the render properties, which is the second option. Scroll down, there is one option called as fill. Click on fill, and there is one checkbox for transparent. Tick it. Now again, go into the render image. Let's zoom out. Oops. Yeah. So as you can see, the gray part has gone, and you can see the checks over here. Checks represent that the image is transparent. The background is transparent. So let's save our image. Click on image, save as, go to the desktop. There is untitled.png. Double click it, delete this part. You can give any name you want. I'll give name as Naivedya, Naivedya. I have selected my desktop, so it will save in my desktop location, and click on save as image. Okay, let's close this. We'll minimize software, and as you can see, my Naivedya.png image is present on the desktop. So let's come to our final objective. Why we did it? I wanted one image for my assignment, so I'll insert the image. I'll rename my assignment as Modak and auspicious dish during Chaturthi. So the only thing which I require now is the information, but the main thing which I required, which was the difficult part, was the image. So I got the image for the assignment. See, I didn't use the internet, nor I prepared the dish, but I lost the opportunity of tasting it. But I'll definitely tell my mother to cook. The interesting part is the way I created the image. I imagined the way the modak should look like. I imagined the color. Then I made 5 modaks out of it, placed it to the location which I wanted it, how I can decorate it. Then I created a box, gave the color to the box based on my imagination, and finally created the image. The cool part is I created this image using a computer software, and the skills I learned from the tutorials. Hope you enjoyed this session of making this image of modaks with me. Uh, Very good luck to you for your Blender Nationthon competition. Practice hard. You can choose any themes you want to practice. There are many other dishes like to make pedas we can use cylinder, to make laddus we can use spear, and try to imagine different uh, objects, different complex objects which we can make using simpler objects. Like in this case, modak object was not available, so what I did is I took some simpler objects like spear and cone and tried to create that shape of a modak. Even the box object is not available inside the blender, so I used my imagination. I thought how the box actually look like, then I used the planes, tried to make the square part as the bottom and the rectangular part as the border of it, tried to join it, and then created my box. What are the things which we have learned today? We started with shapes. We saw this some basic shapes like this, some complicated shapes like this. How looking these objects in different direction makes them appear a complete different way. Then what we tried is we tried changing the angles of the light and saw how we can illuminate only this part, keeping this part as dark. Or third thing which we did is keeping the color of the object same, how we can, by changing the color of the light, how the resultant color of the object can be changed as we said. And we did it using the Blender software. So hope you enjoyed the Blender software. There are many things which we can do in the Blender software. This is just basic software. You can use these techniques in your animations part. You can use these techniques when you want to create, for example, when we see the animations video, there are many things. There are leaves, there are characters which are walking around, and if you see on those leaves, those green leaves have been turned yellow because of the sun rays. They use this same techniques in that to create and give that effect of lighting in it. So hope you enjoyed this session. Let me know how you uh, like this session by commenting or giving any of your feedbacks the way you give. And thank you. All the best for your bootcamp.
Hi, I'm Vishakha Naik Desai from Project Management Unit under the Coding and Robotics team. So today we are in day 5 of the 6-day Blender Bootcamp, which was organized in English and Konkani. All those who are watching this Blender Bootcamp in English, today is the last day. So what you all have learned so far? Yes, in day 1, you had learned to create some basic shapes in Blender and used translation, scaling and rotation on these objects. Next, in day 2, you learn to merge two or more objects, and you were able to create a Christmas tree and also learn to give some animation, like you learn to do snowfall on this Christmas tree, isn't it? Yes, and then you were also shown how you can make a car and make it move. Yes, so this is the concept that is used for designing games, isn't it? Yes, you can create games and 3D images in Blender. And today, that is day 3, you have learned to use lights, camera and rendering. So these concepts are used for giving animative or visual effects for any of the objects that you create in Blender. So why not try your hands and create more exciting stuff? So what more can you create in Blender? Whatever that you can draw on a paper can be drawn or created in Blender, like a house, a sun, a flower, butterflies. You can also think of creating your pets in Blender, cats, dogs, anything that comes in your mind can be created in Blender. And what more? What is there tomorrow? Tomorrow is 5th of September, that is Teachers' Day. So why don't you create an animated car for your teacher? Yes, she will be very excited and very surprised to see this animation. An animated card will give more effect to the celebration, right? So why use your traditional way when you know this technology, and create a card for your teacher in Blender. Share it with her and also share it with us. So a form is linked below in the description. You can share your card or any other uh, project that you have created in Blender to us. We will surely see it, and we will be keeping it in our records. Then after practicing for this Blender, or for after practicing using this Blender Bootcamp, you can compete with each other in the national level competition. So here we are presenting to you Blender Nationthon, a national level competition brought to you by Project Management Unit under the Coding and Robotics scheme. So this competition is a stage for you guys to show your computational and design thinking ability on a national platform. It is divided into three thrilling levels: taluka level, state level, and the national level. Everyone will first have to compete at the taluka level. And at the taluka level, only the top two creative projects will emerge as winners. Then they will have to compete at the state level. So at the state level, all the taluka level winners will be competing with each other, and only three best projects will be picked up at the state level, and they will get a chance to represent their state at the national level. So at the national level, there will be students from different states competing with each other to become the national level champions of this Blender Nationthon competition. So start your preparation as I display the themes of this Blender competition. Please note these themes. So at taluka level, the themes are cartoon animation and wildlife awareness. At state level, you have to use creative stuff and create awareness on deforestation and global warming. And at national level, the challenge gets tougher, isn't it? Yes, so therefore the themes also get tougher. You have to show traffic awareness, women and child safety, and My Dream Pathshala using Blender. So, can you be in the top three of this Blender Nationthon competition? Yes, why not? So for this, you will have to keep on practicing, and to practice, you will have to keep on viewing more content on Blender. So Blender is a free source. It is a free software, and you can get lots of videos for creating any different object. Also, for learning basic concepts on this Blender, you can check out our YouTube videos, which are displayed here in our YouTube channel. So you will get a chance to win exciting prizes. Also, you will be able to represent your state, your school at the national level. The Goan state winners will get a chance to represent their school at an educational expo. So for more details and registration, please visit our website cares.goa.gov.in. You can visit our website even by scanning the QR code that is displayed here. So if you are planning of participating in this competition, please practice and create projects around the themes that I have shared with you here. The project should be unique, original, and should convey the message to the world. Hoping to see you all at this national level competition. All the best!